Hello everybody and welcome to Vigilant Citizen. My name is Josh. It's another beautiful day out. I love sitting outside when I'm recording this, and the traffic is kind of slow, so it's quiet. I had to shift my angle because, as you can see, it's still pretty sunny outside, and if I was sitting in the chair that I used last time, the sun was directly in my face, and then it made everything, like, this was all bright, but then everything else was super dark, and so it wasn't going to work well. So I wanted to talk to all of you today about just kind of the state of the world and how things are going a little bit crazy. We're seeing what could be mistaken as high levels of incompetence in areas like Washington, D.C. I don't think it's incompetence. I think it's actual genuine malevolence. We've seen our world go from having its head kind of screwed on straight to being completely hysterical over the course of the last year and a half. And all of our leaders and our representatives who are supposed to be watching out for us and looking out for us and doing things on our behalf to make our lives better have flipped the script, and now they're doing the exact opposite. They're doing things that gain themselves more power, enrich themselves, and don't do anything worthwhile or good for us. They do seem to be doing the exact opposite. Anything that promotes our health, our sanity, our wealth, our ability to make a living, they're attacking it. They're not interested in preserving or protecting our freedoms or the things that allow us to thrive as human beings and members of our own society or our own community. So I wanted to share some ideas and some thoughts for all of you who are out there who are maybe thinking that it's a little overwhelming, it's a little daunting, and but today's drink is another one of these sodas. Kepler, please, for God's sake, don't. Okay, well, I guess I'll start again now. You know, I was riding high there. I was doing good. I was choosing the right words and moving forward at a nice clip, and then Kepler had to interrupt me like that. So thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. I should know better. Now that we've got this big yard, the dogs have chosen two specific areas in which they like to use it as their own personal latrine, and that is one of them. So I really should know better. So maybe next time I'll be at a different angle. Anyway, as I was saying, I wanted to provide some thoughts and ideas on just maybe how you should look at things and what you can do to make things a little bit better. First and foremost is, if you're feeling stressed about all this stuff, one of the things that you can do is just turn the TV off. Stop watching the news. The news is not designed to actually give you news and keep you informed. I think Mark Twain said it best: a man who does not read the news is uninformed, but a man who does read the news is misinformed. And I think he was really onto something there. The news is not designed to keep you informed. It is designed today to generate clicks online. Back when it was just newspapers, it was designed to make sales. So whatever is the flashiest headline that generates the most attraction because it's the most outrageous or scandalous, that's what's going to float to the top. And it's sort of hijacking the human brain. I mean, that's what social media is too, right? We've talked about that. And that's how the Jarvis, settle. People on skateboards. And that's how the current news is behaving as well. So don't watch the news. If it's giving you a headache and making you stressed out, that's on purpose. That's what they're going for. That's what they want you to feel, so that you tune back in and see if they've got the solution the next day. Well, spoiler alert, they're never going to have the solution. They're part of the problem anyway. And they're lying all the time. They're lying to you. They're lying to everybody. They're lying about themselves. They're lying about everything. Man, who is that one guy on CNN? He's bald. He's actually the same age as I am. I can't remember his name. But Mark Dice does a very funny impression of him all the time. Brian Stelter, little Brian Stelter. Look, just look at that guy. Compare me to him, right? I mean, I'm just physically in better shape. I don't lie to everybody all the time. Just how can you be that age and look like that and feel like that? I bet he feels miserable. But anyway, that's beside the point. So that's first and foremost what you can do. Turn it off. Turn it all off. It's not helping you. Second is, sure, you may want to stay informed. There are alternative news sources if you want to stay informed. I won't go into any of those here. You can find them online. They are a lot more reliable than the mainstream news. So if you want to stay informed and you want to keep up to date on what's going on in your government, which you should stay up to date with what they're doing. You want to know what the people who are out to ruin your lives are up to. But you shouldn't let that dominate your thought cycle, your thought process, because wherever you live, they're over there, right? Maybe you do live in Washington, D.C., right? Well, maybe, I mean, you're probably part of the problem then. But if you do live in Washington, D.C., and you don't really align with what our government's doing and what they're up to, then maybe it's time to think about moving, but you're also not in it either, right? Not likely anyway. So that's thousands of miles away, possibly, presumably, and you're living your life somewhere else. And that's really what you can do. That's really going to be my main suggestion for you, is you've got to focus on the things that you can control. Focus on your own sphere of influence. Don't worry so much about what's going on all the way around the world. Don't worry so much about what's going on the East Coast or the West Coast. Yeah, I'm in flyover country, by the way. We really look down on people who use that term, flyover country. It means you're ignorant. It really does. You're ignorant if you think that everything between the coasts is flyover country. So don't ignore it, but don't let it consume your entire thoughts for a day. What are you doing here? Is your house in good shape? Is your family in good shape? Work your way up. Is your community in good shape? Are there problems here right now in your community that need to be fixed that you might be able to have a hand in? For example, is it time for you to run for school board? If you're seeing that the school board members are doing things that are completely crazy, like forcing masks on children or forcing them to stay 6 feet apart and dehumanizing them and desocializing them at a time in which their socialization is the number one most important thing that they need to make themselves functioning adults as they grow up. So if they're doing that, maybe it's time for you to get on the school board. Is your city council promoting domestic terrorist individuals or groups like Black Lives Matter or Antifa who want to come in and uproot everything that we've worked so hard for in this country? Well, maybe it's time for you to run for city council, or maybe it's time for you to volunteer for some of the things in your county or on your city governing board, whatever that may look like. So it's not the wisest to just sit around and do nothing, because it can feel overwhelming, and then you get analysis paralysis. What should I be doing? Well, if you have a chance to take over the local art board and be the art director, it sounds silly, it sounds ridiculous, but you have a chance to influence things there too. You can choose art that promotes things that have good values, that have good principles. Get rid of all of that stuff that's just meaningless, like the abstract stuff, right? I drive past in the city that we just moved to, there's a sculpture park, and of course it's all postmodern blobs of nothing. It's just nothing. It means nothing. It's designed simply to not offend. Well, you know what? I get offended by that because it's completely inhuman and robotic, and it's disgusting, to be honest. So I guess I do have a taste for art. So look at things that you can do here. Look at things that you can do now. Can you start a local business, right? And I'm not even saying so much that. That's a good idea too, because that can help you influence your local community. But really, getting involved in your local government, that's really the way to go, because that's what you can do. That's what you can handle. Start talking to people who might be involved there. Join your local political party and become a precinct committeeman and start vetting candidates, right? You can do something small like that. And if you feel like you can't, then start even smaller, right? Volunteer to work with, kids. Volunteer to work with even the elderly. I don't know. You can volunteer and do small things in your own local community to start swaying things back to the realm of reality and back to the realm of sanity. You can do that. You can be a messenger for the truth and an advocate for positive change. You can't do it on the national level. You can't do it on a world level. Stop thinking about that. Stop worrying about that. Focus on what you can control. You can't change what Joe Biden messes up in Afghanistan and what he's going to mess up in the future. The man is a complete mess and he's sold out to something else. You can't change that, but you can change your school board. You can vote differently. You can campaign for people in your local community who are going to do something good. So think about that. Think about focusing, like I said, on your own sphere of control, your own locus of influence. That's where you're going to be best serving yourself, your family, your community, God, even your country to some extent. We need people like you out there, and we need you moving up. That's one of the reasons I wanted to start this channel, is because I wanted to make some sort of positive influence and get people out there thinking about, you're an individual. Like I've said before, you're an actor in this world, and you've got to act. You can't just sit down. You can't just do nothing. You've got responsibilities. And let's move forward with those. So just some things to think about. To recap, number 1, turn off the TV, stop watching it. Number 2, focus only on what you can control. Ignore national or world things that you have zero control over. And 3, get involved in those things that you can control and start moving them in the right direction. So that's my message for today. Thanks as always for listening. I always appreciate those of you who are watching and listening and getting a kick out of my dogs as they do unspeakable acts behind me. And if you want to join in the conversation, have anything to say, there's the comments down below. You can also send me an email. That'll be in the comments as well. So thanks for joining me today. Hope to hear from you. See you next time.